Did you know that as of 2025, the world is drowning in over $315 trillion of debt? That's more than 3 times the size of the entire global economy. To put that in perspective, if you gave every single person on Earth $1 million, you still wouldn't come close to paying it off. This shocking number is not just an abstract statistic. It's a time bomb ticking quietly behind the scenes of our everyday lives. And the most surprising part? An artificial intelligence. Most people don't even know how these global forces are affecting their wallets, their savings, and even their jobs. In this video, we're going to break down the 7 biggest financial risks facing the world right now, and more importantly, we'll uncover practical tips on how you can protect yourself, stay ahead, and even find opportunities when others panic. This is not just news, it's survival knowledge for the modern economy. Let's dive in. Risk number 1, the global debt tsunami. Imagine you're living on a credit card that you can never pay back. That's exactly how governments and corporations are behaving today. Global debt has crossed $315 trillion, and the ratio of debt to GDP is over 256%. That means countries more than they produce are borrowing way more. For example, Japan's debt is more than 250% of its GDP. The US owes over $34 trillion and pays nearly $1 trillion a year just in interest payments. That's money that could have gone to healthcare, education, or innovation, but instead, it's being burned to service debt. So why should you care? Because rising debt means rising taxes, weaker currencies, and inflation that eats into your savings. The tip here is simple. Don't rely only on cash savings. Spread your money across safer assets like government bonds, index funds, or even small amounts in precious metals. Risk number 2, trade wars and protectionism. Trade fuels growth. When countries start slapping tariffs on each other, everyone loses. In April 2025, we witnessed the biggest stock market crash since 2020, triggered by sudden tariff announcements. The US and China are not alone. Now, even India and the US are caught in a trade dispute with tariffs as high as 50%. This is pushing global trade into chaos. The UN recently reported that trade policy uncertainty is at its highest level in history. So what does that mean for ordinary people? Higher prices for imports, weaker job growth, and even shortages of everyday products. The tip here, learn to diversify your income. If your job depends heavily on imports or exports, consider building a side hustle or investing in industries that thrive locally, such as digital services or agriculture. Risk number 3, rising bond yields and expensive money. Here's something shocking. Governments like the UK, France, and Japan are facing soaring bond yields, which makes borrowing insanely expensive. That's like having your credit card interest rate doubled overnight. Why does it matter? Because when governments pay more to borrow, they cut back on public services, raise taxes, or let inflation spiral out of control. For you and me, this translates into higher mortgage rates, expensive car loans, and credit card interest that feels like robbery. The tip here, lock in lower interest rates while you can. If you're planning to borrow, do it wisely and don't overstretch yourself. Risk number 4, central bank independence under attack. In September 2025, ECB President Christine Lagarde warned that political interference in the US Federal Reserve is a serious danger to the world economy. Why? Because central banks are supposed to be neutral referees, keeping inflation under control. If politicians start firing central bankers who don't agree with them, confidence in the financial system collapses. Imagine playing a soccer match where the referee is secretly paid by one of the teams. That's what happens when central banks lose independence. For individuals, the lesson is trust but verify. Don't put blind faith in governments to protect your money. Study your country's central bank policies, understand inflation trends, and adapt your personal budget accordingly. Risk number 5, slowing global growth. Here's another shocking fact. The IMF cut global growth for 2025 to just 2.8%. The World Bank says growth will hover around 2.7% for years, the slowest since the 1960s outside of recessions. That means fewer jobs, weaker wages, and shrinking opportunities. And while some countries may grow, the majority will struggle. So, what's the tip? Focus on future-proof skills. The global slowdown means competition is tougher than ever. Skills in technology, AI, healthcare, and green energy are more resilient than traditional jobs that could vanish with automation or outsourcing. Risk number 6, fragmentation of global trade and finance. The world is splitting into blocks. The West, China, India, Russia, everyone is building their own trade networks, currencies, and financial systems. The cost of this fragmentation, the World Economic Forum estimates up to $5.7 trillion lost in global growth. For ordinary people, it means more volatility, unpredictable prices, and constant market shocks. The tip here, become financially adaptable. Don't just stick to one investment, one income stream, or one market. Explore opportunities internationally if you can, and never put all your eggs in one basket. Risk number 7, technology, cybersecurity, and AI threats. AI is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's revolutionizing industries from finance to healthcare. On the other hand, it's creating brand new risks. Deepfake scams are tricking even experienced bankers. Quantum computing threatens to break current encryption systems, putting trillions of dollars at risk. Imagine waking up one day and your bank account has been drained, not by thieves with guns, but by hackers with algorithms. So, how do you stay safe? Learn digital literacy. Use multi-factor authentication, diversify your financial accounts, and be cautious with digital platforms. The future of money is digital, but so are the risks. The human side of global finance. Now, I want you to think about this. Behind all these big numbers and statistics, real people are struggling. Families losing jobs because of trade wars. Young graduates unable to find work because of slow growth. Retirees watching their savings shrink from inflation. Finance isn't just about Wall Street or politicians. It's about everyday lives, including yours and mine. That's why educating yourself on global risks isn't just smart, it's survival. You don't have to be an economist to understand what's happening. You just need curiosity, awareness, and a willingness to adapt. Key takeaways and tips recap. Don't rely only on cash. Diversify your money. Build multiple income streams, including side hustles. Lock in loans at lower interest rates when possible. Pay attention to central bank and government policies. Focus on future-proof skills like tech, healthcare, and green energy. Stay financially adaptable in a fragmented world. Protect yourself from digital risks by learning cybersecurity basics. The global financial system is like a giant domino setup. One push, whether it's debt, trade wars, or a cyber attack, can trigger a chain reaction that affects every single one of us. But here's the good news. Knowledge is power. By staying informed, by adapting early, and by preparing for risks, you put yourself ahead of the curve while others remain blind to what's coming. If you found this video eye-opening, don't just keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Drop a comment below telling me which risk you think is the most dangerous. Is it debt, trade wars, or AI? I want to hear your thoughts. And most importantly, share this video with friends and family. Because the more people understand these risks, the stronger and smarter we all become. Remember, finance isn't just about numbers, it's about your future. And the best investment you can make is in your own knowledge.